The Final Fantasy VII Remake has been out for a while, and I could say, reflecting on it, it is amazing and probably, while not competing with much, one of the best games of the year so far. However, there's one thing that many people have been talking about, and that is the ending. So I'm going to talk about the ending. So, yeah, if you haven't beaten it yet, spoilers. I've held off on this video long enough to give people more time to beat it. So, right now, I'm sure a lot more people have beaten the game and have seen the ending. But if you don't want to know the ending, then click off this video. Anyways, time to talk about spoilers. Specifically the ending. One very notable thing from the ending of the Final Fantasy VII Remake is that Zack and Biggs survive. I'll get into Biggs in a second, as Zack is more talked about and probably more significant, but Zack is Cloud's little soldier friend. However, in the original game, Zack actually died. You can see the events and the whole build-up to his death in the game Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII. However, Zack actually survived. Again, I said that like 3 times now, thus changing the events of the original Final Fantasy game and, yeah, well, Crisis Core as well. Aerith even had a vision of Cloud and Zack assisting each other after battle, so it does confirm Zack is, in fact, alive. Will Zack meet up with Cloud and his friends? Will he join the party and become playable? That's pretty likely, to be honest. Another character that surprisingly survived was Biggs. In the original, Biggs feels he deserved to die after destroying the Sector 1 reactor. In the remake, however, it seems that Biggs dies as he's confronted by Cloud at his alleged final moments. But you see at the very end that Biggs is alive in some sort of hospital, or I believe that was actually Aerith's house or someplace. Can Biggs join the party and become playable in Part 2 of the remake? That's also a possibility. And what else is a possibility is that if Biggs survived, Jessie could have possibly survived, as she allegedly died in a similar way Biggs did. Who knows what's up with that here? Another thing people are talking about after the ending of the Final Fantasy VII Remake is, of course, Sephiroth. And while he may be one of the most iconic villains in gaming history, his integration in the game's story has a lot of people scratching their heads. Towards the beginning of the game, Sephiroth is sort of like a flashback, a vision, I guess, as only Cloud is able to see him. He's alluded to being dead quite a bit, and, well, this will sound like it makes no sense at all, but Sephiroth is dead and alive. Yep, he's doing this because other people appear as Sephiroth to Cloud. It's not till towards the end, however, where Sephiroth actually interacts with other people that aren't named Cloud Strife, meaning he is kind of dead, but now he actually exists in the real world, as he's able to interact with other people, and therefore he got other people to see him. However, the people who appear as Sephiroth to Cloud are known as the clones. Very creative, I know. Clones are like little druid-like people that have a number on their shoulder. This is something that, yeah, will no doubt be explored further in Part 2, and there's a lot to unpack with Sephiroth that Part 2 will need to tackle. possibly the biggest question coming out of the Final Fantasy VII Remake is, what's next? Well, I think it's safe to say that the game was a remake. What I mean is that up till the end, Final Fantasy VII followed the original game and did so like 100% for the most part. But now it's all game. Part 2 will most likely be completely different, and it's pretty much a separate timeline as the original still exists. For example, like Zack is dead, but in the original game's timeline, not this one. That puts a lot of things into question. One question I've heard asked quite a lot, and reasonably so, is will Aerith die now, as she did die in the original, creating one of the most iconic and shocking moments in any game ever. There were some visions of that happening. Aerith at one point figured out that she will die, but will that happen in this timeline? And if not, will someone else die instead? Will it be Barrett? Tifa? Maybe even Cloud with a heroic sacrifice? Though that wouldn't be in the same way, but still, who knows? It's quite hard to pin down what exactly to expect from Part 2 story-wise, but I'm sure it's not anything anyone is predicting. Zack, Biggs, and possibly Jesse are all alive and possibly will join the party and maybe even become playable. If they do that, they absolutely need to make Red 13 playable as well, but who knows what will happen. I guess we'll have to wait another 5 years, assuming Part 2 takes as long to come out as Part 1 did. That's how long it'll take to find out. Let's hope that's not the case and we get to find out sooner rather than later. But I've given this video enough time to be made, so what do you think? I'm sure if you made it this long in the video, you either have beaten the game already and seen the ending, or you just don't care. If you've seen the ending, beaten the game, all that stuff, what do you think? Do you agree with anything I say? And if you just don't care, and you want me to spoil the ending for you anyways, what do you think about what I just said, I guess? Keep the conversation going. Anyways, that'll be it for this video. Be sure to like this video, come subscribe to my friends, my other channels, follow me on Twitter, join my Discord, follow me on Letterboxd, subscribe to my podcast. All the stuff is in the description below. Anyways, guys, I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.